Good day, guys. This is Justin from the Arrma Coffee YouTube channel and Facebook page. As always, if you haven't had a chance to do so, please consider supporting us by subscribing to the YouTube channel and signing up to the Facebook page. Now, the Team Corrali Punisher. This is one rig that I had been waiting for a long time. Now, there's very few of them in Canada, very few of them. And I saw that the brand was really picking up in the States. It's been very popular in Europe. It's mostly known as a race brand, but they recently decided to come up with an array of ready-to-run products. They're very generous in the iterations that they offer, and we'll get into that in a second. And this is only one of them. Essentially, you guys are probably more familiar with the Team Corrali Chronos that has been on the market for some time. They had the V1 and they are at the V2. This is an iteration of the Chronos with a few modifications. Now, I had been bugging my buddy Patrick Marquis from stcrc.ca, the best online hobby shop in Canada. I've been telling him these are coming out in the States. They're well known in Europe. This brand, by the way, is from Belgium, and he took a chance, and they have been selling like hotcakes. Now, ironically. And I will tap myself on the shoulder for this, and I did tell him that I would. I made the request to have those in Canada, and I think there's like 25 rigs that sold the first week. He got them on shore, so I'm very happy to have mine now. We don't live in the same town. Sorry, and I do go see him. To pick up my items, so it is very nice to finally get to see this guy. I was very excited. Now, a lot of people have been saying, "Oh, this is this is a copy from Arrma. This is it's a ripoff, etc." Well, let's just put it this way. The Truggy variant or style, short course rather, has been around for a long time. There's a bunch of brands that offer that, and it is simply another iteration of a style of vehicle, and that's that. And I'm just very happy that we have another player to play with, literally, and it pushes the game forward. It pushes Arrma to do better. It obviously pushes Team Corrali to do better. They are not perfect by any stretch of the imagination, but that goes with every brand, and it's just healthy to have a good dose of of a competition on the market to be able to have the best rigs out there. So this is going to be a rather short video. It's an introduction to this rig. So obviously the unboxing is done. However, it's basically what I appreciate about this brand. They just give you what you need, no more, no less. I have noticed, and I've complained about it in the past, you'll buy, actually I won't name brands or cars, but you buy some cars from some brands and you have a whole bunch of options. You have a whole bunch of accessories that you'll never use, options that are, in my humble opinion, useless. And Team Corrali is not about that, because they were producing cars to race. So they're very much, what you see is what you get. What you need, you'll get. And if you need anything else, there are a few upgrades out there which you can get from Team Corrali, and that's that. And they produce a very good vehicle out of the box, at a very good price point. It's an honest proposition. That's really how I would describe it, and I appreciate that. Now, you can probably see on the side here, so in the box you obviously get the car, but you do get, this is literally the only thing you get. You get this manual for the transmitter. Actually, let's talk about it here for a second. There's really not much to say about it. This is it. It's very simple. It feels really good in the hand, I have to say. Feels comfortable. This is rubberized. Feels very much like a FlySky GT5 to hold, actually. This is also padded. You've got your trim, sub trim. It's a good basic radio, nothing more, nothing less. It's something that you could easily upgrade, and I will get into that in a second. Now, what else do you get? You get this, which is a cover for a sleeve rather for the antenna. You've got this guy there that describes how to program your radio and how to make modifications. You've got obviously your manual. So usually these days manuals are made out of glossy paper. This is literally paper. Looks like it's been almost recycled. Super thin. There's nothing fancy about it. And you know, I really like a good manual. I think it's important. It has to be, to me, it has to be clear. It has to you know, to be you know, complete with everything that we need. And in terms of being complete, it really is complete. If there's one complaint that I can make, you can probably see on the video, the rendering isn't that good. So you see what you're supposed to see, or they're putting what you're supposed to see, but you know, good luck trying to find out what those you know, kind of 50 shades of gray are trying to tell you here. Now you can really tell, again, it's a race a competition brand. You know, the camber is being addressed. They're letting you what kind of ground clearance you're supposed to have depending on you know, what surface you're running on. They're telling you how to, that I really like. A full-blown supersized shot of how to set up your shocks. I like that. This is something that is too often overlooked, and that they've nailed. Really like that. Then you've got blown up pictures of the differentials. Not super clear, but it's big enough so that you can decipher what's what. It's really just the rendering. So, and this is where we're getting into the you know, the confusing stuff. So it's black, more black. You see the parts, but you know, it's not super clear. So yeah, it kind of continues like that, and then you've got an inventory or an itemized list of all the parts, which is always good with pictures. That I really appreciate. So that's that. And then I'll just put this aside, actually here. And you've got more of the same with the ESC. So the ESC is essentially a rebranded hobby wing. It's called Torox in this case. It's a very good ESC, programmable. We'll get into that in a second as I open up the truck. Just one second. Okay, so just, you know, for comparison, I have my Talion here. I believe, and please correct me if I'm wrong, I believe it's a V2. So that's a 2019 version. Though if the wing looks a bit strange, it's simply because we've raised it. I'm using this as a camera car, actually, because it's so stable. And it's funny because when I started driving the Talion, the first thing that came to mind, wow, like the oil is really thin. I mean, the advantage of that is that it handles very, very well. It's a very good camera car. And when I was driving with the Punisher at the back of my car, it kept on moving forward and backward, and I believe the oil is even lighter. So that's interesting. Definitely something that I'll be looking at. But first and foremost, the looks. I think it's amazing. It's probably in my humble opinion, one of the nicest rig that I've ever seen, from the Basher style. So you've got those protections here, very much a la Arrma, which is something typical that they do. You've got these things here. Again, other brands are doing that as well. Obviously, Arrma is doing that here. You've got that little thing here, which is very similar to what Arrma is offering. Same with the wing. The wing it's kind of moving like this. So I guess I'll tighten this up. The quality of the body, I mean, you've got molded plastic here, there on top as well. I'm quite impressed. I think it looks fantastic, and I think the quality, it'll hold up for quite some time. I'm super delicate on my rigs anyway, so I'm personally not seeing too many problems with that. Now, I don't know if you guys have had a chance to take a look at other reviews online, but a lot of people, well, when the Chronos came up, before we even get to the Punisher, what ended up happening is that there's been a whole bunch of breakages. Which I'll show you. So it's a bit tough to do this with one hand. So basically, Uh, People were snapping arms, bending those. Chassis were flexing a bit too much, and apparently the owner of the company, Team Corelli, never anticipated that these rigs would be used for what they are being used, because in the racing scene you don't do crazy jumps. You just it's fairly leveled. When you land, it's usually flat, and that's what he designed his rigs with. That's what he had in mind, and obviously a bunch of breakages happen, and this is why the V2, and this guy is based on the V2, came in with a bunch of reinforcement, thicker links, thicker arms, etc. So one thing that, let's go over this, generally speaking. What I like, the layout is modular. You can kind of shift things around if you want to. This is the large, whoops, that's not supposed to be there. I use this as a little tray. There you go. This is the large battery tray, which you can buy separately for versions 1s, as well as the Radix, which I will also be reviewing on the channel. So you can tell it's a really big battery tray. It's modular. You can move this thing around to make it fit properly. Comes with XT90s. I'll get those changed to IC5s because that's what I'm using. Nice thick, I believe 12 gauge. Is it? Or 10 gauge? 10 or 12? Let's find out. 10 gauge wire, cap pack. This is serious business. And what's interesting is that everybody that's been driving these cars say the same thing. On 6S, on 4S, they're as fast as Arrma's on 6S. Now the funny thing is, the power plant is literally on paper, in terms of specs, the same as what's a Creighton is outfitted with, or actually this guy too. 2050 kV, same amperage here. What is it again? Is it 160, 130? Let's see. I can't recall what the amperage is for this guy. Now I'm curious. I've raised a question. I must answer it. Well, you know what? I'll post this in the description. It may take a while for me to find this out. Yeah, so I'll take a look another time. But long story short, with the same, on paper again, power plants, these guys were killing the Arrmas in terms of speed. So what they don't necessarily have in terms of solidity, they definitely have in speed. This guy will hit 70 miles an hour on 6S. And it's just, first of all, I thought it was the wheels, because the wheels of the Punisher are bigger than the Arrma, slightly. As a matter of fact, a Creighton, which is the direct competitor with the Punisher and the Kronos, has wheels about more or less the same size of the Qatars that the Italian have. Obviously a different style. And I thought, okay, well, with different gearing in the wheels, for sure it's going to be faster. Well, no. If you put the power plant of this guy into the Arrma, from what I've seen and what I've heard, Arrma goes faster. And if you swap these elements for Arrma stuff, Spectrum, it'll go slower. I was a bit worried, and I am a bit worried that this will overheat. Big tires. It's kind of 2050 kV with the size of the tires. I'm wondering if this won't be a bit too much. So we'll see. Maybe I'll gear it down. We'll see how it goes. But it's a power plant that is known to be quite good, reliable. It's just, for me, a matter of finding the right gearing and to see if that what will accommodate the big tires. Now you've got this thing here, which is always really good when you land on top. You have braces to make sure that you don't have too much flex. Now this chassis, it doesn't seem to be the most rigid that I've seen. The braces don't go very far. They go from the top of the tower to here, but they connect to a really narrow portion of the chassis. In my humble opinion, they should have gone further in. And there's a guy who basically came up with braces. Oh, that's the dog. Hold on a sec. All right. There's a guy who came up with braces from here to there, as well as aluminum, and from one shock tower to to the chassis. I'm going to pick those up simply because I've heard horror stories of flex. Again, I'm gentle with my rigs, but it just seems I don't really see this holding up very well, even with mild jumps. So you can see this one here. It goes from the shock tower to the very beginning of of the chassis. There's an extension that goes maybe 2 inches further there. I don't know. I'm not really feeling it. There's that brace there that goes from here to the middle, but it's not doing anything with regards to the stress that this these braces are putting on this. So that's what I'm going to address. So far, like on the positive, modular layout, crazy power plant, fantastic design, tons of metal bits. Like you've got shock towers are metal and they're super beefy, by the way. Big bore shocks. What else? You've got that protection here. That's what I think. That's a 15 kilogram servo here with a plastic servo saver. Chassis obviously is made out of metal. That's just a plastic extension. And the price point is really, really good. I think in Canada it retails for just over 600. So that, it's less. It's about $100 less, give or take, than the Arrma Kraton. And there's a lot of value to that, especially if you're not a huge fan of the Spectrum monopoly, which I'm not personally, especially the servos. I mean, the power plants are good, don't get me wrong, but I do like that approach. What else? You've got a really nice bumper there. It's small. I know it's small, but it is small, but it wraps around the bottom nicely. Here you go. So it goes all the way here, plugs into the thicker part of the chassis, and it's the same thing over there. So I think this will protect nicely, even though it looks rather small. It's more a matter of how it's done and where it's located than the size of it. The arms are really thick. Hold on, if you can see properly. Here you go. And you do not have, and a lot of people have been complaining about it, but it's really not a problem. Adjustable turnbuckles, it doesn't matter. I mean, it's set up right from the factory, as I was saying. This company knows what they're doing. They're trying to save money where they can, and this, to me, and it also acts as a fuse, so that's a good thing. That'll definitely break before your dog bone breaks. So to me, that's a positive. That's not something that's missing. And you've got enough flex in the wing, so that it didn't bend and take hits without snapping. So that's a general overall tour. And I'll open up the Talion, just to have a quick comparison. So, sorry, this one's not super clean. Been using it. Bumper is the sorry for my finger. Bumper is the T-Bone racing bumper. So normally it comes with something very, very similar, almost the same actually as this guy. And you can see actually, you got much smaller shock towers here. They are, however, they seem to be slightly thicker. So they're not as wide, thicker. So I'm guessing in terms of solidity, this is a better arrangement, simply because you don't have as much lateral flex. But then again, the reason why it's like that, it's because the angle of the shocks on the Talion is obviously very different. Something that the Talion has that I appreciate, they've got boots on the shocks, which prevent dirt from going in, and that way you don't have the squeaky sound. I mean, look at this. No noise whatsoever. That thing's been used. You don't have that here, but obviously it's something that you can easily buy aftermarket. The torsion bars appear to be the same thickness. You've got, what else? You've got a piece of aluminum here that goes between the bumper and the chassis. Same concept here. In terms of bracing, again, this is not a Creighton. A Creighton would have bracing, but you see they have a setup that's quite similar to the Punisher here. So you got that long bar that goes to the middle. This one doesn't quite reach the shock tower. Stops here, but obviously this vehicle isn't meant to necessarily be thrown out of a building like you would do with a Creighton. Although they fly amazingly well, these guys. And they are lighter too. In terms of thickness of the chassis, let's see. It seems to be exactly the same. Obviously, the battery box is a lot smaller. I'm running big Gens 870C Gens Ace. It protrudes from the end, but that's fine. Definitely a tighter fit here. You've got that's a plastic. Is that a plastic servo? I believe. Can't even tell if it's plastic or metal. No, it looks like metal. Metal servo horn. You've got your plastic servo saver there. Same concept, 2050, exactly the same. You've got adjustable turnbuckles. They're pretty thin. These guys are non-adjustable, but they're super thick. And as I said, I do like the fact that they act as fuses. What else did I want to see? Oh, something that I really like. You see this here. The screw here that holds the shock is inside, and this is no coincidence. This is a racing thing, so that if you hit something, you won't be busting your screw and damaging it, so that you can't change your shock, because obviously this takes a lot of hits, and that's something that Arrma hasn't necessarily done here. So you've got direct access. So your screw is on top here, and then you slide the spin out, but still it's it can be hit with the elements, whereas here they came up with that strategy to protect it. Just want to see the thickness of the dog bones. They seem to be exactly the same. Yeah, it's the same. Let's see if those are the same. Okay, well, Arrma definitely has thicker dog bones for the transmission from one differential to another. However, for the direction, the steering rather, they are the same. That's interesting. They're actually much beefier. Huh. Strange. Now I wonder if those are interchangeable. So I'll look it up. Actually, I'll try to swap one for another to see if we can do that. If that's the case, it'll be a really good upgrade, because these guys are beefier. If I had to do to change something right off the bat, well, take a look. I didn't do it from 2 feet, because I know that from 2 feet this will chassis slap. I don't want to slap on my table, but the oil is very thin. This will definitely slap the chassis, so I'm going to, I'm not sure what it is actually right now, but definitely something thicker, maybe 80, I've read it somewhere. I will be putting also thicker oil in the differentials. This is too light for what it is. With this style of tire, it will balloon. It's nowhere near as bad at what you'd see on an e-Revo or something like that. I mean, they're fairly firm, much more than what you might expect, but still, just to have good traction. I'm thinking maybe like 500, 100, 300 weight. We'll see. I know I've seen a lot of people put a million in the middle, but I don't want this to be driving on its rear end 24/7. That's just not what it's for. They've got the Jambo for that, and a bunch of other shorter iterations that compete with the Notorious. Yeah, just wanted to do this well, not so quick overview with slash comparison with the Talion. Very excited to try this guy. I think it'll be a very nice addition to the family, and there may be an ear evo coming soon, and we'll be able to run them all together to see which one I prefer. But very excited, very impressed with this brand. It's a small company. It's not, Arrma's grown so big over the years. These guys are just starting. Well, I mean, they're not starting. They've been around for 36 years, but they're starting to become mainstream. And I can't wait to see what they're about to do, they'll do in the future. Their ability to react on what the market needs and wants is super impressive, but that's due to the fact that it's a small brand, and it's always something that we like to see, in an RC company. They have good customer service. They clearly listen to their customers. They offer a very competitive product, well priced. So, I'm very happy. And one thing that I'll change right off the bat, though, I was talking about the transmitter a while ago. It's going to be the transmitter. This thing is so fast. You need a gyro. I need a gyro. I'll speak for myself. I think it's a needed addition to be able to properly exploit the capabilities of this rig. So that's that. Thank you very much for your time. This was the Team Corelli Punisher, and with a little, appearance from the Arrma TALION, which I believe is a V2. Thanks, guys. Have a good one.